Saturday night on the United Stand can mean only one thing. The men are in the room, and we're going to take you through into this weekend with the last show before tomorrow's, well, I won't say crucial, but it really is if we're looking at the table. But I think we're all looking at this as the big start, the fresh start. The new era starts tomorrow for Manchester United. Joining me today, they need no introduction, but I'm going to give them one anyway because it's Saturday night, innit? You know, they could be doing other things, the lads, but they're at home talking football for you guys. Joe is with us. He's been off for a while. I've not spoke to you for a bit. Joe, how are you doing, mate?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, and I am so genuinely so thrilled to be joined with the boys here tonight, Kev, Jay, and yourself, Adam, to chat about this upcoming game, because I can feel in the room, and I can feel it before we came on live, this thing of optimism. This feeling of optimism, which has been vacant from my Manchester United heart for what seems like a millennium. So I am so excited. I'm always excited to be on the show, but I'm especially excited to be on discussing this with the boys here, and it's going to be some crack for the next hour or so.
It is indeed. Kev with the fairy lights on, propping up the bar in his back garden, man caving it tonight. That's how Saturday nights go, isn't it, Kev? That is how you do it, pal.
Just how I roll, mate. This is no different to any other Saturday night. I'm sat here, like you say, in the man cave, glass of red wine, with the boys, J to the O to the E, Jay Daly, yourself, Adam, and we talk about Manchester United. That's what we do, innit?
Oh my God, that was the most dad moment I've ever seen in my entire life. I love it. I love it.
Guys, get your comments in on anything that we bring up as well, obviously. If you want to have a laugh at us, I'll take the mic, go for it. We don't care. Saturday night, us lot can take whatever you're going to throw at us. And Kev pretty much introduced the man himself there. Jay, all ready for this weekend, mate? How's your week been in preparation, pal?
Look, first of all, Kevin's rocking, I think, is that like a 1985?
Oh, bang on the money, Jay.
Paul McGrath, Remy Moses, Kevin Moran, Frank Stapleton, Norman Whiteside, FA Cup winners. Yeah. Whiteside, he's onside, goal. Boom, baby. Yes. Love it.
Yes.
Retro top. Yeah. So, guys, hopefully now, tonight, I can see already the energy is really arisen. Yeah. I think we've definitely, the last week, have left behind the embers of the therapy stand that doctors Daly and Ashford had been presiding over for the last 3 months. Yeah. And finally, we're going to have a night of stand, I think, between now and May, where we're actually going to speak about football. And that will be such a breath of fresh air. I can't wait.
Yeah, that is exactly where I was going to go next. Guys, talk of nothing else but football. It feels like real football as well. And the fact that everyone is excited. I'm going to come to you first on this, Joe, mate, because you haven't been on for a while. A lot has happened since you was on last with me anyway, in particular, mate. Just talk to me like what Jay said there, first of all. Like the vibe going into this weekend seems completely different to what 2 weeks ago, mate. And it is one of from what I've seen, mate, I don't know about you, a United fan base.
Yeah, look, it's the first time we've had it in years, because no matter what way it was when Solskjaer was coming in, when he was the Inter manager, everyone was behind him because, of course, we love Ollie. He's going to see us out till the summer. It was fantastic. But then the mood shifted as soon as he got the job, because there was already a divide set in place, because there was people who turned out to be right, but they were saying like he should have never been given this job. He just hasn't got the experience. But we won't go back down that avenue again, because we actually have a coach now. We have a system in place where if the coach is successful, and just we'll say best case scenario, he does a Tuchel, he gets to a cup final, wins the Champions League, and we guarantee top four. We have a coach with the pedigree, with the background, where we kind of can go, well, this guy is actually good enough to be the manager after doing all this. But if he doesn't get us to that promised land, we'll say, and he's just to bring us to the next manager who does come in, like, we're going to be in a better position because we have a footballing genius behind the club. So for me, it is absolute excitement, and I cannot wait to get things going, because I think no matter where we are in May, we will be better off, and no matter where we'll be for the next 2 years afterwards, we will have someone in the back room who has seen a football being kicked before. So it is so like very true. And this it's kind of embarrassing that this should excite me as much as it does, but like, facts are facts. Change happens slowly, and change happens at a snail's pace, and change happens at a minute level at Manchester United. But we have to get excited when we have to get excited. And I'm really, really looking forward to this game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the next couple of months, and I'm looking forward to Ragnarok.
That's it. Ragnarok is here. Kev, mate, one press conference, one training session. We're all excited. We're all hyped. I mean, Crystal Palace tomorrow, not on great form themselves. Do you think there'll be wholesale changes straight off, or is it a bit too soon to really be seeing massive changes in personnel more than anything else, mate? Because I don't think he's going to be able to get that sort of idea across in a day, even how good Rangnick is. I don't expect it to come across in a day, but do you think we're going to get a sort of vibe of how things are going to go with tomorrow's starting lineup, or do you think it's going to be more of let's just carry on with what was impressing for the most part against Arsenal?
I would think with Rangnick, he's already admitted that he watched, what was it, the Watford game, which was an absolute disgrace. City, Liverpool, and obviously he was at the game the other night against Arsenal. I think it's very interesting the points he comes out against Arsenal where he said, well, yes, I'm not going to do my German accent. It was 3-2. Yes, it was 3-2, but it's not what he wanted to watch. I know it was terrible. I'm sorry. I've done that in the last one. I got slated for it. The German accent is not coming out, man. I've got people from Germany giving me all kinds of abuse. But I would like to think that the fact he touched on the Arsenal game and said he looked at that and said, that's not my type of football. I want to win games, not being this 3-2, it's kind of a cliffhanger kind of thing. And I like that. I want United to be back from, if anything, you build from a solid base, if you can get the defence right. So I would say one thing, Adam, tomorrow, I would like to see a few wild cards. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Phil Jones is thrown in at centre midfield or anything that wild. But something
7 minutes in, he's already dropped the Jones bomb on me.
Oh, I've got to drop it in there. He's in the squad, so obviously something's going on, man. But
they need someone to bring the balls out onto the pitch.
Well, yeah, put the cones out. Phil Cones, that's his name. That's what he's there for. Phil Cones. But
hey,
go on.
Sorry, Kev. Just on that one, actually, then in terms of bringing the balls out. Well, when Ollie was in charge, it was Carrick who teed up the players in that crap warm up that we do. Now, when Carrick went in charge, it moved to Fletcher. So now Carrick's left. Phil Jones teeing up the shots in the warm up, Kev.
God.
Yeah. You never know, do you? I tell you what, 85 grand a week. I'd love to be doing that kind of thing. But I would like to say that the team tomorrow, I would like to see a few wild cards. If Rangnick has been watching these last few games, he'll have an idea on what he wants to see. And why not? Why not make a few big calls? Why not drop Marcus Rashford? I don't think he deserves to be in that team on the minute, on merit. The same with Harry Maguire. I couldn't care less. If he was 80 million, hell of a lot of money, and a lot of us go off the price tag. If Rangnick's gone into training, sussed him out, looked at it, and he thinks, do you know what? I'm going for Eric Bailly. I'm playing Eric Bailly tomorrow. And that's what we need. And the same thing we have talked a lot about in the United stand is this favouritism thing and there's the same way that Harry Maguire walked straight back in against Arsenal kind of infuriated me. I'm not saying he had a bad game or anything, but we need to be back to this point of players fighting to get in this team, and they need to be in it on merit, not because of the name and the price tag. And that I would love to see a few wild cards, except Phil Jones being in the team.
Yeah, echoing pretty much what I said there. I can't remember what video it was in. It might have been my fan vlog the other day outside Old Trafford after we beat Arsenal. I pretty much said exactly what Kev said then. I mean, Jay, wholesale changes Kev would like to see. Would you think with what Rangnick said already in his press conference about the issues with defence and 2 goals on average conceded a game in the Premier League, nowhere near good enough, do you think them changes will be defensively?
I don't think we're going to see, as much as we want to see wholesale changes tomorrow, I don't think we're going to see them tomorrow, but over the next 6 to 8 weeks, that starting 11 will be unrecognisable from what Carrick's starting 11 was against Arsenal. Like the old football adage that titles are won on defenses. Well, right now, that defense has all the structure and integrity of a Louisiana swamp. Like we're leaking goals left, right, and centre. Our goal ratio right now is 0. We don't have a plus or minus. We have 0 goal ratio right now, and we're languishing. What are we in? We're in 6th place now. I know Chelsea
7.
losing today, 7. But yeah, Chelsea losing today. Tomorrow, opportunity to gain 3 points on Chelsea. Liverpool won 1-0, but that's the mark of a team that's dogged. Like Origi to come on and get them the winner. Like we need to be that dogged team again. Whereby I know I don't want to harp back to the old days, but lads, how many shitty games did we win 1-0 to death when Fergie was manager? But that was all built on the structure and integrity of a bite your bollocks defense, which we haven't had, lads, in years. And to Kevin's point about Maguire, personally, I don't want to see Maguire next or near the team bus, let alone starting 11. And I don't like all the stuff that I've seen on social media. Oh, he can't be dropped. He's 80 mil. He can't be dropped as club captain. Why can't he be dropped? He's a player. He's played to play professional football for our club. He has underperformed since he's come back from the European Championships. So he does not warrant a place in that side now. Neither does Marcus Rashford. Neither does Scott McTominay. So for me tomorrow, in an ideal world, you drop Maguire for Bailly, who hasn't put a foot wrong. You drop Rashford 100,000%. Jadon Sancho starts on the right. I wouldn't be averse to Martial going on the left tomorrow if he had to. And obviously, the obvious tomorrow, the obvious starting player is Donny van de Beek beside Fred, which we actually haven't seen Van de Beek beside Fred. So,
I mean,
yeah,
Jay,
sorry, go ahead.
You touched on it there, mate. Anthony Martial, the birthday boy, birthday tomorrow, 26, potential FC. Another one of these guys who's going to hit his strap soon. He's not in the squad. He might in the match day squad.
He's not in the match day squad.
Not in the match day squad, alongside Lingard. Jesse Lingard.
Right.
No, I know Jesse was training yesterday. I've seen the pictures. I have. Yeah, they are genuine from United. They only like to put out the happy ones. Jesse Lingard didn't look too happy, and he's not in the squad. I'm not saying there's anything in that, but Lingard's out. Martial's out. I don't know if that's injury related or what, but it is interesting now, and we're going into this area, Joe, of everyone's sort of looking at it going, and Kev touched on it there, reputation goes out the window. Straight away, I'm seeing messages, and I'm not saying that this is how the whole fan base is. I'm seeing the live comment section saying, Dave has to play, he has to play, he has to start. Well, no, Joe, simple as. It's what Rangnick wants to play. And that goes for every single one of that 11 starting lineup, whether they won against Arsenal or not, mate, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of with these players now the same way. I remember Jay saying at the beginning of the season that they get a reset, like the manager gets a reset. We go from here and see how long it goes, because he got massive players, blah, 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 all the way. Jay was dead right. And this is how I feel with players, because we look at Solskjaer as not being a good enough manager and not a good enough coach. So we have to look at the players as being not coached up to the same level, because we saw them when they went away in international duty and they seemed to just up a level, no matter who they were playing, whether it was San Marino, Albania or France. Harry Maguire tended to play out of the skin and play outstandingly. So when he come back to United, it ebbs and flows. Sometimes he's excellent, and then more recently he's been absolutely, don't want to swear, but really, really, really bad. Think of a bad swear, that's what he described as. And,
Joe, come on, you're Irish. You have to swear. It's obligatory. Jeez. Sorry now. Sorry, lads. Come on now, lads. When have you ever heard an Irishman go on the rant and say, "Yeah, he's really, really bad"? Never, Joe. Come on, man up.
I feel under pressure now, so I'm just going to say shit, and I'm not going to swear. Okay. Thanks, Jay. But going into this, I'm more than happy to say the players were just not happy under Solskjaer's leadership. They couldn't play up to their potential because they didn't know what they were doing. What Dave De Gea said coming out of the Watford game is, I don't know who to give it to because the defenders don't know what they're doing. And that is bad. Okay, so I'm going to give some leeway on that. I know these guys are playing huge money and are playing with huge wages and all like that, but they can only do what they're told, and if what they're being told isn't up to standard, some blame has to go on them, obviously, and then some blame has to go on the management team. But that's not going to happen under Rangnick, okay? He is, 40 years in the game. He revolutionized with Gegenpress, and he is someone that they will look up to and they will listen to, and they will do everything that he says, I believe. And if they don't, they'll be turfed out. And this is a man who has no loyalty to anything. He didn't buy any of them. Solskjaer felt he had to play Harry Maguire even when injured instead of buy, which is madness. And Ragnick can just drop who he wants. And he's there for 6 months, and afterwards he's in an advisory role for 2 years. So he owes no one anything. And that's why I think it's a reset for the players, and I think that's the best way to look at it going forward, because they all know they're playing for their positions.
I think the interesting thing, Joe, I know you say he's only there for 6 months, but from the press conference, when you hear him say, I think he was more or less talking himself up to be here a little bit longer than what he's making out.
I hope so.
I think he's here to, basically audition himself for the Manchester United job. And if it goes really well, he's actually stated in his press conference that, why not? I might stay on another year.
That is the dream. That's what we all should be hoping for a Man United manager. Like, we had Van Gaal coming here. A 3-year contract, lasted 2 years, wasn't it? But he came in knowing it was his last big job, that all he wanted for himself was to get a trophy, so he could say he won a trophy in every country he was in, and he had nothing really to prove. Well, Rangnick, this is his first massive club, where he is now probably the most talked about person in world sport. And he has something to prove, that he is actually worthy of being at this level, and that to continue at it for years to come. Like, this is, no matter what happens at the end of this, when it comes to May, we should all be unified and just delighted that there are massive changes coming, and we have a. Do you
know what's even better for me? It's like, I know now, and these players are going to be put the spotlight is on them. Let's say that. And there's no escape. Do you know why? Because if I was Rangnick now, I'm going on that training ground. I'm going, okay, yeah, interim manager. The players are thinking normally, and this is what this bunch of players, you can back whichever one of them you want. I know if there's your favourites, and you all like to get your favourites in, yeah, but that's bollocks. Let's put that aside right now, yeah, and let's talk serious, because serious talk is this, is that them players have threw managers under the bus. Yes, they have, because they've down tools, yeah. Right now, Rangnick's coming in, and these players think for a second that, he's only here for 6 months. I don't have to do this and that. Well, this guy's going upstairs, and this guy will have a say on your future, you shit. So you better pull your weight. You better get down to business. And on that, Jay, I mean, everyone is going to get found out by this manager. And that is why the realization, and it's like the excitement level is, it's like, well, this is now or never for a lot of these United players. And there is nowhere to run, Jay. There's literally nowhere to run. It's on the players right now, because United have made a footballing decision from above, which is basically saying, right, okay, we've tried everything on that bench. We've tried every style manager possible. Right now we're going in and we're saying, really, have we made a mistake with a lot of these players? Because for me, the spotlight is now on them fully.
Yeah, last week, I wrote an article actually saying pretty much what you said. One of the lines of the article was, lads, Camp Carrington is now closed for business. There's new sheriff in town. So
summer camp is over. I
believe that training ground had become like a kind of a holiday camp atmosphere. Like, we saw there'll be pictures of the lads on Twitter playing leapfrog and ring a rosy or whatever they're fucking doing in training. But whatever the boys were doing in training, it wasn't working on the pitch. And finally, we have a top class. I would go as far as to call Rangnick a football savant, because he is just levels above any guy I've heard listen to about football. And I would put Mourinho in that category. I put Pep in there. Like, like you, Adam and Kevin and Joe, we've all been watching. We've probably been binge watching Rangnick for the last week, as opposed to binge watching shite on Amazon Prime or on Netflix. We've been binge watching a German football savant. And the guy, he's so engaging. And any player in that club that doesn't have the IQ and intelligence to realize this man can make or break my career. Well, if they don't actually see that, well, leave now. Because as you pointed out there, Adam, this man, he's moving upstairs. In an ideal world, he's sitting in that bench again next season. And we've all watched his interview. on Friday, he alluded to the fact that twice he recommended Leipzig that they put him in situ for another season. So he got top four. He got top four and or a cup. I think he's going to recommend himself as the manager to go and try and win a title, to be the first man in 10 years to win a title for United. And I think Rangnick sees that as his legacy. And it's very right in what you said, that, you know, he doesn't see, he's not you know, a washed out manager that's coming in for one last payday. No. He sees this, that he now can solidify his own legacy as one of the biggest football minds of the last 20 years. And any player that cannot see it, well, then leave. Hand in your notice and get out of the club, because I don't want you there. This man will make or break your career. And it's very simple. The trainer's leaving the building and the trainer's going to success. Either put in the work, jump on a carriage, or get off, mate, and piss off.
Yeah. On that, Kev, mate, we've seen them pictures like Jay touched on there, the summer camp, the holiday camp. If players are happy in training, something's wrong. It really is. And it's funny to see them latest pictures come out with Rangnick in charge. There wasn't a smile on the training ground. Yeah. Just like, oh, yes.
Exactly.
It's
That's
time to work,
boys.
Yeah. That's it, Kev, though, isn't it, mate? It's like time to work. It's like, what have you got, really? Because this guy's going to push them to the limit. And they will break or they will make. A lot of them, I think, are looking elsewhere. Just my personal opinion. I think that this was before Rangnick came in. Whether we can change them, mate, I don't know. But I think we will find out before Christmas, mate, who really is staying and who's going, mate. And the way he's talking, Kev, it just looks like he wants, I need results now, down to business type of guy.
Yeah. And I've said it before on here, but it is almost like, remember when you were at school and you got a supply teacher in and you just took the piss out of them because they didn't have a clue who you were, who anyone in the class was. You just took the piss, took them for granted. But then all of a sudden when the head teacher come in and everybody just sort of sat there and went, and that's how I feel we're at now with Rangnick. That it's all over. And the stories have come out in the press. We've heard the stories that players were turning up for late for training. No disciplinary action. It was literally just like, come and go as you please. Oh, I'm not just going to say a name, but such and such a person walks in. They're 10 minutes late for training. Doesn't matter, you know, just get your kit on. Let's get out here, do this, whatever. And that will be over now because it needs to be proper regimental. We need to get back to what Manchester United was. And it starts with things like that. And on this channel, I stated when Cristiano Ronaldo signed, as much it was like one of the best things ever as a Manchester United fan. I said at the time, this will be the downfall and the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And a few of my mates were like, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, he will come in now. He will see that standards have dropped at Manchester United. And once he starts speaking to other teammates, Solskjaer will be gone. And it's happened. And I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I'm just trying to... It was an observation I made at that time when United signed Ronaldo. I thought, Solskjaer's got nowhere to hide now. And I love him as a club legend and all that. Whatever, let's put sentiment to one side. I seen it coming. I knew exactly what was going to happen. And the stories have come out. And I said the same thing. Stories will come out in the press. And we've heard these things that apparently on the chalkboard or the whiteboard or whatever in the Manchester United dressing room, there was words like, you play for Manchester United, and underlined was Manchester United. And it was like, express yourself. And express was double underlined, you know, and stuff like that. And it was like, you can't get away with that at Manchester United. You can't walk into a job and go, you play for Man United, we're the biggest club in the world. Go out there, express yourself. You need more than that. You need an idea, a game plan. You need balance. You need absolutely everything. And that's where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer basically fell at that hurdle, because now we've got a man in, and like everybody has correctly said, he's going to walk in, the headmaster's back in the room, the kind of supply teacher's now gone, and the headmaster comes back in now and goes, right, I've got the reins of this club again. You know, clean slate, fair enough, but there is no pissing about from now. And he will make every single one of these players know exactly what it means to play for Manchester United for me and to represent the club.
On that, actually, Joe, before we get into the team, I'm going to go through the squad in a second. But now Rangnick's in charge. Do you feel like the fan base, having seen the chosen one, the old school winner, the serial winner, the DNA as such, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this fan base has seen and argued and debated and fought over every manager that's come in post Sir Alex Ferguson. They've seen every single type. Do you feel now that they've seen that and seen all that fail that they're going to unite behind the experience of Rangnick and go, right, we need to give this more patience now? Do you feel like this appointment probably is the one out of all that everyone has sort of agreed on? Do you feel like it's because of all the failings before that is the case as well now?
No, there's no way of united this fan base. And I'm not just talking about our football club, I'm talking about basically every football club. If you want to go by Twitter is notoriously toxic and we'll turn on.
I don't go by Twitter.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I'm just saying, if whatever metric you're reading it by, I think this is the closest you can get possibly to a United fan base, where it's just a case of the previous guy was so bad and this guy is such a wonderful pedigree of revolutionizing football that it should bring it to like 70-30. But there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people saying, well, what is he won? That's going to be the big thing that's brought up. Well, what has he actually won? And then no matter what you say to those people, they're not going to change their mind until he brings us a trophy, until he brings us success. And that'll be the same with every manager that comes in. I don't believe that at all. I believe that this should be a thing that brings us all together, but I just know it won't. And I think it only takes a couple of either defeats or at least not winning games for people to start going, wait, why didn't we give Carrick a go? Why couldn't we just see him till the end of the season? We know we're going to see that. We're going to see everything. But I feel if this was an ideal world, this should like ripple throughout the fan base and people should be 100% behind. And I feel like this is the highest percentage, like I said before, we will get, but it'll never be a fully united front. If we couldn't get behind Solskjaer when we got Varane, Ronaldo, and Jadon Sancho in the summer and be like, yeah, let's do it, we're not going to be able to do it now either. You know? So I feel like I wish it was the case, but as optimistic and positive I'm feeling right now, I just can't see all of us being behind one man, because unfortunately that's the way football's gone.
Okay, that's it. He's ruining Saturday night. Let's just take it.
You sound like every girlfriend ever
had. Anyway, on that, I'm just going to leave that super chat up from Darren there. Have you guys heard of the assistant who's coming in from America? Honestly, if I've heard of an assistant, then I don't want to know. It's the assistants, the quiet ones that no one knows about, that the managers trust, are the ones that you want in your team. A second or number two should be a man you don't really know a lot about, in my opinion. Just so, I don't know about you guys, you feel that is the way? I mean, your manager is your man, and only he knows who is right for him. So we, in effect, won't know as much, only through seeing who's actually been on the bench at times with him. But honestly, number twos for me, it all goes down to that guy in that hot seat, and he's whoever he's picking. I don't know what you guys think about that.
The thing is, Adam, if they're a decent number two, they get picked up. And we've had that at Manchester United with Brian Kidd, Sir Alex Ferguson's, whatever. We've had it with Steve McLaren, 99. You know, the rest is history. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant manager again. Clubs look at that and go, you're a number two, we'll take you. And Carlos Queiroz as well was under Sir Alex Ferguson. Again, off to Real Madrid. You know, they cannot turn these opportunities down, and do not underestimate the work that an absolute top class assistant manager does to assisting a manager. But the minute somebody sees that good work that somebody's doing, it's very hard to it's very easy to tempt a number two out of a job when you can say, again with Brian Kidd, come and manage Blackburn, you know, you're the manager, come in here. Carlos Queiroz the same, and Steve McLaren. It happened at Manchester United. We have really good number twos, but teams will look at that and go, well, we can just make him our manager. And if you, any walk of life, if you've got ambition, you will look at that, won't you? You'll be like, well, this is great at Manchester United. I'm a number two to whatever manager, but then you're like, I can go here now and actually manage and do my own thing. And that's the really difficult thing at the minute of having a really top class, like sort of assistant manager number two to you.
Yeah, that is exactly it. Well, it all starts tomorrow. I'm going to get into the team. I'm going to get some selections going in. So I'm going to go through the squad. Jay, I'm going to come to you first, mate. Obviously, goalkeepers, De Gea, Heaton, and Henderson. Are we having De Gea in goal tomorrow, mate? Actually, in fact, Jay, what I want you to do, and I want you all to do, and everyone get involved in this as well. Let's do what we expect to go in, and then do we think that position in particular would change in the next few days, next few games under Ralph and the way he plays? So let's just think about it that way. But we are quite limited defensively anyway at the moment in terms of numbers. But De Gea for you tomorrow, Jay?
Look, if ever is a player on form that picks himself right now, it's David De Gea. Plain and simple. It's a no contest for me.
As what we know, Jay, and the hard knocks sort of lifestyle, just tell me how you thought about him going down after that little grace from Fred in goal the other day, first of all, mate.
In sport, you play the whistle, show some balls, man up, get up. Plain and simple.
Well said, mate.
Very simple.
Yes. I would say that was probably the one downside to David De Gea's game, that sort of nature of being bullied in the box, which I thought he'd got rid of at one point, and then it just creeps back every now and then. And again, there's only so many times a man can pull you out of shit, and that is exactly what David De Gea has done all season.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
You cannot deny it. It's ridiculous. Joe, David's got to start, mate, surely, yeah?
I think there's more chance of Phil Jones in starting goals ahead of Heaton and Henderson. It is absolutely David De Gea, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. I love the man, and he's going to be godfather to all of my children.
Kev, mate, Dave in goal for you.
Everywhere you go, you always
Here
take
comes
the
red wine talking.
Boom!
It's talking. But I will say on this De Gea thing, you said at the game the other night, even though, regardless of whether he thought that was Fred or whoever, it wasn't enough to go down, was it, man? I mean, I took my dog for a walk today, and somebody walked past me and somehow accidentally stood on the side of my foot. I wouldn't be falling down on the footpath down the park going, and rolling about. Get him on. You wouldn't know, would you? It is. I don't get that. But at the same time, I'm not going to diss David De Gea because I do look at the same fingers like Cristiano Ronaldo. If we didn't have him this season, we'd be out the Champions League. There is no argument with that. And the same with David De Gea this season. I look at it and I think, where would we be without him this season? Even the disgraceful performances, the likes of Liverpool could have been 10-0 without him. The same with Man City. We kept that to 2-0.
Especially, yeah.
Watford smashed 4 past us. It could have been a hell of a lot more than that if we didn't have David De Gea. And this is where we have to look at it and go, do you know what? This guy is getting absolutely no protection. He's a world-class goalkeeper. There's only so much he can do. The players in front of him, they have to be protecting him. And that's why there's going to be some big calls. Or there has to be.
Well, I'm going into Jay's favourite line here. Has he got the balls to make the calls? Rangnick, I would say, has. I'm just going to throw a spanner in the works, guys, okay? Don't come in on me. Don't go, oh, here he goes again. But if there is a certain style of football that Rangnick wants to play, and say, for instance, a sweeper keeper was needed, can De Gea do that role?
Oh.
No.
For me, he can't.
No comment.
He's the best shot stopper for me in the league, I think, personally. I really do.
Yeah.
But with his feet and playing that role and coming out of his box, it's severe nosebleed territory for De Gea. And that's the only way I would see him losing his spot. If we got a settled team, would his place be under threat? Surely that can be coached with the right coaching setup.
Well, look,
it can be brought into a keeper, can't it? Surely.
Look at Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. And I've got a load of mates, City fans, absolute knobheads like. But anyway, we'll get past that. When Joe Hart was in net at Manchester City, best thing since sliced bread, best keeper in the world and all that. Pep Guardiola come in there and he weighed it up for a bit and looked at it and went, this lad cannot play out from the back. And I know a load of my mates were absolutely heartbroken. They were like, I can't believe. But look at that now.
Yeah, but De Gea's leagues ahead of Joe Hart and always was. Joe Hart had a couple of good seasons. De Gea's been was at one point the best keeper in the world and is now one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So like I feel Rangnick will just have to put up with it and like figure out ways to get around it, and not like he'll probably like 2 or 3 will say like everything going well to the club will say he's manager, maybe 2 or 3 years down the road if he wants that sort of goalkeeper and De Gea is on a decline maybe, but like at this moment in time we have far more problems than David De Gea, and there should be no suggestion of losing.
Can I just defend myself for 1 minute? I am not comparing David De Gea to Joe Hart.
You just did. Get Kev. Everyone get Kev. Yeah. You all heard him, people.
Listen,
clip it, Ryan.
Joe got slaughtered last time he was on the show. He's just trying to deflect across to Kevin to take the limelight off.
I get slaughtered every time I'm on the show.
I can see what he's doing. I'm having a lovely evening here, and I am not having Twitter people invading my privacy.
And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring Jay in right now to tell us all and convince us all.
Oh, I've got a perler for you.
David De Gea can play sweeper keeper, and convince the goalkeeper that he's that good in that department can learn how to play that role if Ralph wants it.
Before I answer that, I want to go back to slate Kev for using David De Gea and Joe Hart in the same sentence.
Kev, you're being clipped, mate.
Listen, Jay, I've just cleared that one up, Sunshine.
Right? But listen to me. What shocked me even more about Joe Hart was Joe Hart got the ad for Head and Shoulders when he had very, very, very mediocre hair. That should have been my ad, but there you go. Boom.
Yes.
On David De Gea playing sweeper keeper, who knows? With coaching, anything is possible. But what I say about this, guys, and it's very, very simple. The way Ragnick plays football, David De Gea is not going to have to pull off 3 or 4 world-class saves every single match and save us, because logic would dictate that we're going to have more of the ball. We're pressing high up the pitch, so he's not going to be called on as much to pull off world-class saves, I would argue.
Do you think that is the problem with De Gea? Do you think that he's the best? He's at his best when the defense is crap. Obviously, he's got to do a lot more to do, and he's in the limelight more. But I remember him 3 or 4 seasons in a row, like everyone picks up on, when he was player of the season. He had the likes of Jones and Smalling in front of him a lot of the time, and it was quite calamitous. And that's when he's best.
And those seasons, Adam, minus David De Gea, you could argue we probably would have finished down in 10th place.
Yeah. Exactly. So
again, can David be coached into that sweeper keeper position? Maybe. Surely. We shall see. We should see. However, we've all seen the running games between now and February. There is very little time actually on a training pitch for that position to take place. But maybe Rangnick will try it in. I don't want to say the lesser games, because we're Manchester United. We don't have lesser games anymore. Anything comes to Old Trafford, thinks they can beat us. But you would think that he's a professional athlete. He can adapt his game, I would hope. Yes. Because, look, he is levels above Henderson, levels above. And Henderson is probably another player now that's probably looking at his future at the club as well.
Well, with time will tell. Another one. He's going to be another one. Right, guys, let's move in. We've got De Gea in goal. We think he's going to be the man anyway for Rangnick going forward. But let's be honest, we did say at the start that every 11 positions in our team is up for grabs. It's a fresh start for everyone. So let's just get that straight. We're not digging anyone out. It's just what it is. But moving into the defence, this is where we're a bit weaker at the moment. So obviously Shaw still not in the squad. It's a bit of a concern really for how long this is going on with Luke Shaw, because that head injury seems to have knocked him for 6, unless they're just giving the guy time out, because he does look absolutely dead on his feet, which he did before he got the whack to the head, to be honest. So Shaw's not in there again. So the fullbacks, I've got to go with Dalot and Tellez again. Guys, I don't see anyone else coming in there, personally. Is there anyone else?
No.
Not left back, but Ethan Laird still at the club playing on 19 football, possibly to come in as a third string right back. But has he played enough first team football? No. Oh. How much faith do we have in Dalot? Dalot seems to be more of the fullback that Rangnick will favour. We all love
what do you guys think of Dalot on Thursday? Because obviously I was at the ground, you guys were doing the form. What did you rate Delo as?
Kevin is obviously waving to people there in the chat, so let Kevin do his wave.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep the, you know what I mean, the live chat people.
Okay.
Happy. Sorry.
But
Yeah. Actually, Adam, that's interesting because perception in the ground vis-a-vis our perception watching on TV are poles apart.
I know.
Poles apart. Look, Delo, there was 3 occasions I saw him chasing back after Martinelli and making last year's tackles on Martinelli because I felt he was caught in position. And if you're the right back, you shouldn't have to make last year's tackles and caught out of position. Now, we laud Wan-Bissaka for his tackling, but he's caught out of position far too much. Mm-hmm. And they're the facts, guys. Look, it's a £50 million player that I don't think is worth 50 million. Plain and simple.
Fair point, actually. But like you touched on before, Jay, and Joe coming on this one, mate, would Delo be better for the higher press?
Yeah. I think that was the first thing that a lot of people pointed when Rangnick was coming in was the fact that that Delo would he's a lot more of an attacking presence than Wan-Bissaka, and by that would be better going forward and would be better on the press, and he's a lot quicker than Delo as well. I'm not sure how much you said there or anything. You just froze and stuttered for a little bit. What's he doing? Are you back in the room?
I don't know. I'm a Connie. I was just looking at something.
I wasn't sure if you weren't talking over me the whole time, but you were stuck.
Did I stay that still? I was just like a statue.
He went all Jordan on us. Jordan goes out.
But no, I think Delo, we should be very excited about, because I think we all thought he was an afterthought being kept at the club, and mainly because AC Milan couldn't afford him. But I think Rangnick will have a lot of faith in him, because I think he is more of his style right back than Wan-Bissaka is. And I also feel that Wan-Bissaka, I don't think any player should be guaranteed any position, and it tends to lead to them declining because they need competition. Look what happened with Shaw when Tellez came in. He just went to that next level, and hopefully he can get back to that very soon. But like with Wan-Bissaka, he needed a Trippier to come in to push him. I didn't think Delo was ever going to push him. I thought Delo would just stay until January to find him another club. But I think this could work out really, really well for both players. So I'm really excited about it. I think Delo definitely earned his place from watching him against Arsenal. There's literally no reason to drop him, and I think it should be really, really interesting for the next couple of games of which one he actually goes with. So for me at the moment, it's definitely Delo. I think Wan-Bissaka needs to sit out for a while. I still think he's a fantastic right back, but he just can't be guaranteed that place.
Yeah, interesting, Kev, mate, because like you said, everybody looks at these players. Everyone wants Shaw to come back and be good. Wan-Bissaka, like Jay said, we praise for his tackling abilities. Yet these are the players in when we didn't win a home game for over 2 months. First game we win in over 2 months at home, it's Tellez and Delo. And to be honest, mate, how many times did we have an overlap with these two playing, and we had another option going forward down the wing? No coincidence, Sancho started to look like a decent player as well, with different fullbacks coming in. So, I mean, Wan-Bissaka is in the squad. It's going to be between him and Dalo, obviously, for that side, mate. But are you rating Tellez at the moment? Is he starting for you? Are you happy with him and his few games that he's played, Kev?
I think he's looked all right. But at the end of the day, Luke Shaw, whether you call it a hangover from the Euros or whatever, there's something not right with there. Obviously, he's a fantastic player, Luke Shaw, but we need this kind of competition at Manchester United, and that is the main thing. And the main thing is at the minute, the likes of Wan-Bissaka, which, again, you pay 50 million for him, and this is the thing with modern day football at the minute. You pay that kind of fee, it's almost like the club heap this pressure on you that, well, he has to start. He's a £50 million asset. Well, no, he doesn't have to. Dalo's gone in there and done a really good job, played all right. It shouldn't matter what they cost. It should really go off how you're playing, and that's how it is. Now, if Wan-Bissaka wants to up his game in training or whatever and try and get, and fight Dalo for that team, that's what we need. And that's why Manchester United went after Trippier in the summer. I thought that would have been a fantastic signing because it gives something for Aaron Wan-Bissaka to think about. The same thing, the way that Luke Shaw upped his game at Manchester United when Tellez signed. And I've said this on here before. I said to me, mate, one of the best signings ever for United. That tell us why he doesn't play. No, because they've signed him, and all of a sudden Luke Shaw went on to another level, as if to say, "Nah, mate, you're not catching me. I'm our left back." But that is what you need at Manchester United. But at the same time, it needs to be rotated. There needs to be team rotation. And you need to work it in with certain cup competitions where you work it in. But the minute Wan-Bissaka, I don't know. I think he's gone backwards, if anything. And the manager needs to come in now. I think that the beauty of this is, he comes in and there needs to be serious kick up the arses. I think that's an Irish saying. Joe and Jay will be like, yeah, I'll relate to that. But it is. Go in there.
Like, you know your audience, Kev.
You know what I'm saying.
Read the room.
Bishop Brennan, kick Bishop Brennan up the arse. It's like that. It's coming in.
Okay.
And we need that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, Kev's camera quality has gone down to the level of the shirt age that he's got on right now as well. I think he's gone backwards in pixelation, but he's still with us and we can still hear him loud and clear, and that's all that matters. I mean, Jay, round up that centre-back partnership straight away for me, mate. Just go for it. Tell me right now, two centre-backs.
I'm going to make it very simple. I want to see Bailly and Varane. They're my preferred pairing. Very simple. I think the fans know by now my opinions on the bus of sofa that is Magaluf at the back. I'm not going to bore anybody anymore with those two. If Harry Maguire was Irish, French, or Spanish, he wouldn't have cost 80 million. He wouldn't be captain, and he'd be dropped. I'm not going to say any more about it. Bailly and Varane in the story.
There you go, guys. We're in agreements there. Going forward tomorrow, though, obviously, what we're saying, Bailly and Lindelof.
Tomorrow, Bailly Lindelof, yeah. I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Bailly Lindelof, yeah.
In terms of who warrants a place in the pecking order, that probably would be it, wouldn't it?
It wasn't broke against Chelsea. So there was no reason to mix it up at Old Trafford against Arsenal. I go back to that thing about Eric Bailly. He signed that new contract, and that's the way the mismanagement of Manchester United creeps in. Because if Eric Bailly's to sign a new contract, if I'm Eric Bailly, I think, I've got a chance here. Obviously, the manager wants me to stay. The club think highly of me. And at the minute, it is just like, give out these contracts, let's sign them up, because if there is an inkling of doubt that they might leave, we'll get money back for them. The same way that happened with Phil Jones. There is no way in anybody convinced me that Phil Jones was worth signing up at 85 grand a week. From what I've seen at Manchester United, it is literally
give you value, does it? You can't even see it as a business move.
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. It is just like, right, let's sign him up, and then if he did get into the team, showing a bit of promise, if somebody comes in for him, we might be able to sell him for 5 million or whatever, which is absolutely absurd. But that's all it is. It's kind of a business decision. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, this midfield now going forward. I'm just, you know what? I think we can't expect too much tomorrow. So I'm going into full on hopes and expectations and what you actually think Rangnick's going to go with in the future and in the next few games over the next few months. Are we saying that we're having, it depends on the formation, but say, for instance, we do go 4-2-3-1. Joe, who's your midfield two starting off, mate, in there? Who's your engine?
Look, what I want to see is I do want to see Donny van de Beek getting a bit of football, and I think he will. I think that will come eventually. It might come straight away, but I do think the way it's going to go, and I think it's going to be McTominay and it's going to be Fred, because Fred had the most Fred game ever against Arsenal, where he assisted a goal, but then also, was an absolute calamity as well in midfield. But seeing him play he's playing further up the field now, and that's what I think it's going to be. I think Rangnick had a lot of influence over that game as well, no matter what anyone says. So I think he is going to be played further up the pitch, which leads me to believe that it's either going to be McTominay or Matic playing there. And I just don't think Matic has the legs to do what Rangnick wants him to do consistently. So he's probably going to put out his best team going forward and in the first game, which leads me to believe it will be McTominay and Fred, a Mick-Fred partnership in midfield to begin with. because I think it's safe and they know how to play off each other. Because Ragnick has absolutely no time to find a partnership, so he's going to have to do it out on the pitch. So I think it will be McTominay and Fred, although I do hope down the line it'll be Donny and Fred, I think. I think there's something there. But it really is slim pickings, let's be honest.
I mean, Jay, you commented if we can get Fred to stay in his lane, if we get him coached properly, he could be that destroyer and engine we need. Someone alongside him for you would be Donny van der Beek, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it would, 100%. Like Rangnick has said on countless interviews that he does not want to see any of his teams pass the ball backwards. He's also got a record by saying he's watched the last couple of games. So the last couple of games, he's watching McTominay. What's he seen Scott do? Pass backward incessantly. Yeah. So based on that analysis, McTominay doesn't start. He's got to bring in a forward-playing ball player that is Donny van der Beek. You would think. And Fred, okay, as everyone here in the show, everyone in the comments, none of us have made a secret of how much we don't rate Fred. But as you said, Adam, if he stays in his lane, just breaks up play, plays a simple 5-10 yard ball, and is not anywhere near the box, just sit around the middle of the pitch, front of the back four, stay in your lane, Fred. You're 6 out of 10 every game. That'll do, son. Just stay there. Give it to Donny, give it to Bruno, and then tuck in. That's your job, son. If he does that, I'm happy. Regarding Matic, this is like the end of Matic for me now. He's not going to be able to play a high pressing game. Matic in his prime didn't really have pace, but did it to a point on Mourinho. So Matic now, he's a player that you bring on 10 minutes to go, you're leading 2-1, and you want to close the game out. He's not a starter. And as for Scott, I don't know. Based on form, is he even a bench player anymore? But then, as we point out, guys, everyone gets a blank slate, Scott included, and maybe Rangnick can even make a player out of Scott. We shall see.
That's it. So to clear up the first half of the team then, because we were guessing with Shaw being out, I take it we want Shaw back at left back, guys, then going with Rangnick's future, or with what Rangnick said about Shaw, are we going to give Tellez a run of games then? I
think based on what Rangnick has said about Shaw is injured at the worst possible time, because Tellez now comes in, could play 5 or 6 games, and if he does well and gets a couple of assists, Tellez then could be the number 1 left back. And if that's what happens, guys, that's what happens. That's the transition. That's development.
Yeah, that's it. At the big club, mate.
Where you should be.
Yeah. I won't be shedding tears for any player been dropped and not getting the spot.
100%.
Certainly not.
Absolutely agree 100% with that. I don't give a toss about any one player's reputation or feeling sorry for any one of these players right now. They've got a lot of making up to do with the fan base. Hard work starts now, like we said earlier on in the show. So, De Gea in goal, Tellez at left back, Eric Bailly, Rafael Varane as centre-back partnership, and then Wan-Bissaka on the right, are we having? Or would we say that Dalot suits the higher press better? Because I would say if you don't want to play to pass backwards, then having Wan-Bissaka can't play. Because that is predominantly what he does. He cannot go forward, it would seem. He's got a little bit better, and like I said, in a short space of time, does Dalot fit Rangnick's system more?
I think Dalot would definitely fancy. I think Rangnick will look at Dalot and fancy him more than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm not slating Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I know exactly what he brings to the team. I hear some United fans that I speak to that say, well, Wan-Bissaka's brilliant, but it's like a lot of the work that he does is covering for himself. Now he's tracking back or whatever, and he makes them last-ditch sliding tackles. It's great, but at the same time, I've got people saying to me, "Well, Kev, why should he be in that position of where somebody's knocked the ball past him and they're in around the corner, ready to cross the ball, and it is a last-ditch challenge?" Some of the top clubs you look at, Manchester City, Liverpool, and that they don't get to that point. So in that sense, Adam, I think, Dalot is a different animal altogether, because defensively, yeah, not as good as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but getting forward, I would say he is better than him because Wan-Bissaka reminds me a bit of Antonio Valencia. And I used to pull my hair out Old Trafford every time he gets into that final third. Cross the ball, cuts back, you know, the move breaks down. And it gets here, doesn't it?
It does. Right. So, everybody, the combined men of Saturday night United stands. First 7 is David De Gea, Dalot on the right, Alex Telles on the left, Varane and Eric Bailly as the centre-back partnership, with Fred and Donny van der Beek in the 2 holding roles.
Do you know what, Adam, I'm really disappointed you didn't read it out then in the style of the Manchester United one where you go, number 1, David De Gea.
Mate, do you know what? I used to hate that. Do you know who we used to hate the most? When he read out Lukaku's name, it's like, number what? I can't remember what number was the Lukaku now? Was he 9?
9.
9 at United.
Yeah.
9.
Number 9, Romelu Lukaku. It's like, no, Romelu Lukaku, mate. Get on with it. For God's sake, he's not that big. God.
Oh, God. Oh.
Seriously, mate, it's embarrassing. God. Anyway, that is our first 7. Going into the business end, where the high press comes in, Jay, mate. This is interesting. We know, I'm pretty certain Bruno Fernandes can be coached with the energy and the amount of miles that guy puts in a game.
Oh, yeah.
He can be coached into that role. I think we're all safe in saying Bruno starts for us.
Look, Bruno, what has he had now since he joined us? 76 goal involvements between assists and goals. I think 75 or 76. Phenomenal stat. I mean, it's phenomenal. And we've said it on shows as well. The amount of unnecessary running, and like Bruno has been pressing since day one because that's kind of in his nature. He's a high energy, high octane player, but nobody around him was pressing with him. And now finally, it's like a boxing match. A boxer doesn't throw one big left hook all night long. He punches in bunches, steps back, regroups, and goes again. So Bruno being coached and the players around him coached how to press as a cohesive unit, we're going to see a much better and far more effective Bruno Fernandes. Absolutely.
Kev, happy with Bruno before we move on to that front three, because I'm coming to you for the start of that, mate.
Yes, mate. I'll go with that.
Bruno goes in. Okay, so we're getting there now. Right, in the last 5 minutes or so of this video, we're gonna crunch the numbers here now. It's the front three. This is the important one. Straight away, we have to start with the man, the saviour of the season, Cristiano. He is going to play in there. Deathly silence.
Yeah, sorry.
Chris who?
Do you know?
Chris who?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he's going to play in it. I mean,
it's
aside,
a given.
The
given.
So Ronaldo is going to play in front of Bruno. So then we've got the left and the right. I think, guys, I'm confident in saying Jadon starts on the right-hand side.
100%. 100% agree.
Okay, so we have 3 players, possibly 4 if you had Elanga, 5 if you had Lingard, fighting for that left-hand side berth. Martial not in the squad today, Lingard not in the squad today. Does that tell you something that this position solely now comes down to a Greenwood? I'm not really keen on him on the left, but he is both-footed. And Rashford? Jay, take it away, mate. Who's going in there for you, first of all?
That would be actually a very interesting conundrum. Like the English media and English society appointed Prince of Football, Marcus Rashford, is up against the generational talent in Mason Greenwood for the one remaining spot on United side out on the left. A spot that really neither of the two want to play.
Jay, I'm just going to throw a spanner in the works for you, mate. I apologise to the chat. Yeah, obviously Hamad and Mr. El Matador himself, because he's still here for the season, mate.
Yeah,
but Cavani in.
But look, okay, in an ideal scenario, and again, we're looking at the tactics employed by Rangnick. I don't see Marcus Rashford pressing. It's a case of can press, won't press. And how can you press when the ball's at your feet, you run with your head down and you're oblivious to what's happening around you. How can you press? Mason always wants to cut in from the left or the right and have his shot. Again, he's younger. So yeah, he definitely, okay, any player can be coached, but if I'm seeing potential in a player that's going to work in a system better, it's going to be a Mason over Marcus Rashford. I'm sorry, guys. English fans don't want to hear that, but I got to call a spade. But in the ideal scenario, I would play a fit Edinson Cavani on the left-hand side. Because Edinson Cavani will run his nuts off for you for 70, 80 minutes, and he will press absolutely anything you ask him to do for 70, 80 minutes. And just think, right? You're a right back and a right-sided central defender, and Edinson Cavani is running at you constantly for the entire game. You cannot give Cavani an inch, and then meanwhile, you've got Ronaldo sniffing around the box. So who are you more afraid of? Are you more afraid of a high-energy Edinson Cavani or Marcus Rashford doing bits and pieces when he thinks of it, running at you, his head down? You know what you're going to get. Or Mason, you know what you're going to get. He's going to run in, change feet, and shoot. You shit yourself. You've got Cavani up there, as opposed to a Mason or a Rashford. I would argue.
Kev, sorry.
Yeah.
That left-hand side, mate. I mean, you've got Alanga, you've got Ahmad to come in. We've not seen enough of them, and obviously we're just going with the obvious right now. The first team players that we know have played, and I'm guessing Rangnick can rely on more. You're a big Cavani fan. You've put him ahead of Ronaldo at times in that centre spot.
Yeah.
Or would you simply put Ronaldo out on the left and put Cavani in the middle, mate?
I would love to see a system where you could get Greenwood in, but I think it will take time. If we're talking at this moment in time, if everybody's fit, for me, Cavani is the focal point of that team. And I've took dog's abuse. I've done shows on the United Stand where I've jumped into bed after. I think I'll have a quick little look through the comments. And
never do it.
No, I don't do it anymore now because I can't get any sleep then.
You actually got criticised for doing a United Stand video, really? Mate,
Yeah. Can you believe it or what?
Surely not.
I usually get loads of love, do you know what I mean? But people are on and going, what I'm trying to explain, I'm like, Cavani for me, right? There is nobody else like him at Manchester United. He's the absolute prime, whatever the age he is, 97 years old or whatever. He's still the best striker at Manchester United. He holds the ball up, presses from the front, leads from the front, does all that. So I suggest for a minute, I'm like, well, why can't we play Ronaldo on the left? Next minute, the tweets start coming through and they're like, what's man on about playing, like Ronaldo on the left? Ronaldo don't play on the left. He did that years ago when he played. And I'm like, right, well, just please hear me out. Even in 2008, when Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo, they didn't stick to them same positions. And we've seen players interchange. And that's what it's...
True.
People think when I say Ronaldo on the left, that I'm sticking him out on the left. And I'm like, yeah, you're up and down the left, bombing up and down. You're a left winger. I'm not saying that. And Manchester United, even under Michael Carrick, to an extent, have swapped that around. You've seen players interchanging. You've seen Sancho go from right to left. You change it in the game plan. For me, Cavani is the best number 9 at Manchester United. And moving forward as well, I wouldn't rule out, and we've sort of gone in a bit on Marcus Rashford tonight, saying that his form's not that great. But on the left-hand side, Martial, if he can get his arse into gear, there's a place for him on the left-hand side. I am a fan of Martial. So if you look at even, I don't know, it is really hard to fit them all in. And as Ricky said, that's been on the show before, and that it's about shoehorning players in, but you are blessed with talent in them front areas at Manchester United at the minute. It's a great headache to have.
Yeah, it all comes down to it. That left-hand side is our problem pick, guys. I think it's safe to say. Can we just praise Kev for being down with the kids with the man comment? Let's just make sure that that's praised enough. Yeah,
Thank
man
you.
like Kev.
Yeah.
Loving that one, mate. But guys, let us know what you think when the video drops. Obviously, get your comment in below as well in the comment section when the video goes up on YouTube. What is your team? What do you think Ralph's team will be? As you've heard, the only one we can't decide on fully is that left-hand berth. Who comes in there? That could be one of 5, 7 players. That's how crazy, like Kev said, this squad is, and the amount of talent that's in there. It's now down to Wreck-It Ralph to dissect it, make it work, and put it into the system. And that's what we're all looking forward to seeing. How he handles it is going to be even more interesting. Who drops out? We don't know. We'll find out in the next few weeks, no doubt, I'm sure. Guys, that is it for tonight. Don't forget to drop a like on the video before you leave. Subscribe to the United Stand. Kev, cheers for coming on as always, mate. Red wine's flowing. 1 bottle down in one show. Not bad tonight, mate.
No, new record. I'll certainly put that straight next week. Somebody asked me to dab then, so there you go. Sound? Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, good.
Kev, sorry, not Kev. Jay, cheers for coming on, mate.
Pleasure. Unlike Kev, I had my first night out last night in about 3 months. So tonight is water, sleep, and recover because I'm getting too old for this, and I will admit that.
That's it. When you train as hard as Jay does, that alcohol hits your system like a sack of bricks. It's ridiculous.
Like today I'm driving home, right, 6 hours after, and you know how your both hands on the steering wheel, and all of a sudden your neck is like rubber. It's like pop.
Yeah.
Pop. It's like, oh yeah, the whole way home. You know how there's a long drive. It's horrible.
Go left, go left, Jay. Go left, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Go left. Guys, that is it. We've gone well over on tonight's video. Cheers for tuning in, all the super chats and everyone in the comments as always. You've been bang on point. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday evening. You can go back into the other room now, guys. Strictly has finished. I think the wheel's done. So it's time to get Netflix on and crack open a beer. Guys, we will see you tomorrow. Kev and Jay are back, obviously, on the forum tomorrow. I'll be back outside Old Trafford with the fan vlogs. Road trips back tomorrow morning as well, guys. So do tune into that one. Exciting times ahead, hopefully. For now, we're out of here, guys. Have a good weekend and what's left of it.